Sakana actually handed me his car. His Mercedes. A very small woman in a Mercedes. So to drive everyone around. So that's what I was doing. Free labor. Yeah. So, so it's like that. So yeah, I got flown in, to drive his car. Which I have a story regarding that because as you guys know, I am a pretty solid driver, but I will say I've never driven a new car. And you guys know about new cars, right? They're really finicky. They have a lot of technology in the new cars. They like to scream. I never realized that because I drive a 2005 piece of shit. You know, new cars scream. I didn't know that. There's so many buttons. They scream when you get too close to anything. They're crazy. Alright? Yeah. Yeah, 2005 piece of shit. I know. Why are all these speed bumps screaming? They go bing bong, beep, 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 beep. Brrr. They're like, it's crazy. A lot of unnecessary stuff. You know when you park your car, you're going to get close to another car when you park. Especially if the space is tight. It just screams the entire time, giving me anxiety. I've never experienced anything like it. It's just too much. It's too much. It gives me anxiety, right? Okay, so how do I begin? So, let's just say I arrive in Canada, alright? Sakana picks me up in the car, in the SUV, in his Mercedes, alright? And, we go to the warehouse, and he hands me his keys. He's like, here you go. Yeah, go take care of the JPs. Drive them around. And I was like, oh, okay, I got you. And he was teaching me how to handle the car and stuff. And I was like, this is so many buttons. What? The little, like, gear shifter isn't even where the gear shifter should be. It's where on my car, my piece of shit car, it's where the windshield wiper would be. So, imagine how confused. Imagine how freaking confused I was going into that. Cause the gear shifter was where my windshield wiper was in my car. So I was losing my mind. You know, I was like, oh my god, I am not ready for this. Yeah, the Prindle. Yeah, the freaking Prindle is not even where the gear shifter should be. I drive an SUV, guys. I drive a 2005 Toyota SUV. It's completely different from driving a 2024 Mercedes, alright? So, it was insane. I have a soccer mom van. I do. It's just a piece of shit, okay? I know it's a piece of shit, but you know when somebody cuts you off on the road or treats you really badly and you see them park, let's say near a Walmart, I could take my piece of shit car, park real close, piss them off, and be like, yeah, fucking hit me. I'm not the one driving a Beamer. Can't do that with Sakana's car, to be fair. Can't do that with Sakana's car, man. Alright? But yeah, I do that in my car. You know, it's the kind of petty driver that I am sometimes, alright? Yeah, I know they feel primal fear. Because I'm an Asian woman in an SUV wearing sunglasses. So, when you see that, why would you even bother cutting me off? You should feel primal fear in your soul. You should. And if you don't have a survival instinct. Yeah. Primal fear is the correct thing to feel, Chad. Maybe the sunglasses hid my eyes. They hide the killer instinct, you know?
Lifeless eyes. Black eyes like a doll's eyes.
You know, that's what they do. Anyways. Let's just preface this by saying I've never been in an accident. Ever. I've driven since I was 16. I'm way older than that now. I've been driving for over 10 years. 15 years plus at this point. I've never been in an accident. I'm just gonna put it that way. I've never ever. Anyways, so I just want you guys to remember that about this story. Alright. I learned how to drive in the streets of LA. So I'm very confident. Anyways, let's preface this by saying that, well, so we go to the Airbnb, right? I go to the Airbnb. It's a huge mansion. It's like a huge mansion. I've never really been inside of a house that big. Actually, that's a lie. I've been in a house that was bigger. I've been in a big house before, but like this is probably the second biggest house I've ever been to. Huge driveway, double garage, and a giant boat is parked in that driveway. It's big enough so that you could park 3 cars and a boat on that driveway. All right, a big ass fishing boat. All right, it's parked on the far right side of the driveway. All right. So yeah, just remember the boat. It's kind of like a small yacht. I don't know what to call it. I'm not a boat person. It was a huge boat. All right. So that was that. So the day goes on. I make plans with the girls, and they all get thrown in the trash because I get a call from Sakana, and Sakana's like, "I need you to come by and help me pick up 2 people." You know, I'm the kind of employee where I don't ask questions. I just do. Which Uruko was telling me I should start asking questions. But I'm the kind of girl, I don't ask questions. I just show up. That's literally how I end up in half the predicaments that I do, is because I never ask questions. Right? Uruko was like, "Shiina, you should start asking questions." But I didn't ask questions. I just showed up. So all the plans I made with the JPs got thrown out the door, because then I was on Sakana's timeline, right? The whole time I was with Sakana. Remember, I'm driving his car, right? His SUV. So I was holding up the keys while we were talking, trying to signal to him that, you know, he should maybe drive. It's his car. So imagine my surprise in which he didn't take the keys from me. And we get to the car, he climbs in the passenger seat. I'm like, Miss Rat, please. So, I'm like, all right. And like, okay. I'm like, all right. In my mind, I was screaming, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to accept Sakana's the passenger princess today. This is fine. I've been demoted to chauffeur. This is fine. So I start backing up the car, right? And this was near the warehouse. You know, I do the old-fashioned thing where I put my hand at the back of the seat, look back, and back out, you know? And Sakana laughs. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, you know, points at the front dash. There's a backup camera. You don't need to do that with this car. And I was like, oh, okay. I've never used a backup camera before. I don't, because my car doesn't have that. You know, it predates that by like at least 10 years. So I'm like, okay, you know? So we go and we meet up with some other girls for dinner. It was like a hot pot place. Just remember what he said, right? Remember that. Remember what he said, right? Okay. So I was like, okay, you don't need to use, I don't need to do that because this car is a backup camera. So we have dinner. It was, I don't know if these girls want to be mentioned, so I won't, but we have dinner with a bunch of girls. And this is cursed. This is so freaking cursed. Because the tables only fit 4 people. And we were a total 6 people at this dinner. So there was 2 people that were going to be stuck on another table, right? So we go sit at the tables. The girls all sit down. Sakana sits at the other table. And I'm standing there like, I could do something really fucked up right now. I could just leave him alone. But he looked so sad. He looked so sad that I was like, man, I feel so bad for this guy. So I decided, I was like, it's okay, I'll just sit with Fishman. But the intrusive thought was I could do something really fucked up right now and leave him alone. And just pull up a chair to the... And I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever, man. He is paying the bill too. See, he's paying the bill, right? So it was like, okay, I feel bad if I leave him there. And he's paying the bill. And so... So, like, we're eating, right? And it's like an all-you-can-eat hot pot place. And it was sad because the girls on the other table ordered, like, huge stacks of meat. Like, there's so much food on the other table. And then on our table, because Sakana's on a diet, I eat like a freaking bird. So our table looked like a diet. Like it was mostly vegetables and like it was so sad. And it was it was the saddest table ever. It was so sad. The girls were like eating big stacks of meat. And Sakana and I's table was just soy mist again. All right, it was okay. To be fair, I was eating so much meat at the other dinners that by the time I got to hot pot, I was like, I just really need fiber in my body right now, you know. So I was grateful, but it just looked really sad, you know. And at that dinner, when we were done, Sakana laughs. He's like, and I'm like, what? He's like, I realized I could have just driven this entire time. I remember this is after a whole day of me chauffeuring him around. All right. So, anyways. All right. So I'm like, this freaking guy. I should have just left him alone at this table, right? Okay. Fuck my Chungus life for real, man. Okay, so he takes pity on me. So we drive back, right, with all the girls in the car. We drive back, Airbnb. And then it's been a long day. I've been driving nonstop for like 8+ hours at this point. And then he goes, oh, don't forget to pick up this girl at the airport at 1 a.m. And I was like, okay. Remember, at this point, I've been driving all day, right? I've been up since like 6 or 7 in the morning, right? And I gotta pick somebody up at 1. It's like, you know what? This is fine. I'm being fed. It's going great. It's fun. Great. Awesome. You know, I ate so much food. I was really tired, but there was nobody else. And this girl was gonna stay with me at my Airbnb. So Uruka was a little worried about me because I seemed very tired at that point. So Uruka was with me, and she was like, you know, I'll go with you, just in case. Cause Uruka can actually drive, and she's a pretty good driver. I've been driven around by Uruka. So Uruka, so kind, so lovely, gets in the passenger seat, right? And I start the car. And remember what Sakana said about backing up? I was right about to do my classic right hand on the back seat, look back. And, well, I was like, I don't need to do that. So I looked at the, camera and promptly backed Sakana's Mercedes into the boat.
How did you think about?
I don't know. Right? Okay. Hold on. Let me show you a picture of what the camera looks like, cause this is fucked up, right? Okay, hold on. I got a picture of. I took a picture. I'm like, okay. Hold on. Okay. Let me pull it up. You guys tell me. All right. I got the evidence. It was literally the one time I didn't do, like the first time in my life, I didn't do my manual check. You know, I didn't do my old fashioned check. The one time in my life, I didn't do that. And it will be the last. I do not trust technology. So this is what's fucked up, right? Doesn't it look like I still got 2 feet of space? Doesn't that look like I have 2 feet of fucking space? Oh my god! Anyways. Yeah, I was lied to. Never doing that again. Yeah. So the thing is, the boat is tall. It's tall, right? So it cracked off a single tiny panel on the back of Sakana's car. And I was freaking out. Uruka got out of the car and was like, let me check it. And I was like, okay. I put the car in park. And Uruka comes to my window. It's like, you might wanna, there's and I was like, like, oh no. So I get out of the car. All right. I get out of the car. I'm like, I'm so fucking screwed. All right. I see the crack and I pick up the pieces of Sakana's car. I'm like, sad bee. Imagine sad bee. All right. Instead of his little vegetable, I'm holding pieces of Sakana's car. I literally start crying. I literally start crying, right? I'm literally crying. Okay, I'm literally crying. They're like shards, all right? So, and I'm like, is the boat okay? And we look at the boat. The boat is fine. Not a single scratch on that fucking boat. I don't know what they make out like boats out of, but there's not a single scratch on the fucking boat. All right. So yeah. So there was like 2 little shards. And so I was like, oh my god. And then I'm like, can you call? I was like crying. And then Uruka was calm. Thank God for Uruka. Uruka's like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'll call Sakana. So she calls Sakana, right? She goes, and then I'm like freaking out. I'm like already crying into the car, like literally holding the car and like crying into the crack at the back of the car. And Uruka's just standing there, like calling Sakana, like, Sakana, there's a crack, a small crack at the back of your car, and yeah, so and then I was like, after it calmed down, I texted Sakana the picture you guys just saw, right, of the freaking boat and the back camera. And then it was like, he was like, damn, like it literally, the stars aligned, because it was the one situation in that the backup camera can't see the top of the boat. So it only chipped off like the top part. Like it didn't crack a window. It was like the tiniest panel. So I was freaking out. And then I still had to go pick up this girl. And so we ended up picking her up, bring her back. I was so upset at that point, right? Uruka's doing her best to calm me down this entire time. I was like, it's okay. You were tired. You're not used to the camera. You know, Sakana made you drive around all day. And then I told her about Sakana said, I was like, Sakana said I didn't need to do my old-fashioned check. And I was like beating myself up because I was like, it's the one time, Uruka. The one time I didn't do my check. And the boat was there. And so we get back. You know, so at that day, apparently Uruka goes up to sleep in her room. She's rooming with 2 other girls, and apparently they were yapping all night. But I had my own room, so I went, and I was so done with that day. You just imagine me holding Sad B, looking at his face, and being like, fuck today, Sad B, and promptly went to sleep. I was holding Sad B and I went to bed. Yeah. And so the next morning, I get up, Sakana calls me. I was like, Shiina, can you bring the car in to the body shop? I'm gonna get it checked out. And I'm like, okay. So I had to do the drive of shame to give Sakana the car. So I could take it to the body shop. Alright. And then and then I had to hand over the keys, and I was like, I am so sorry. And he's like, it's alright. And then he goes, gets it checked, and he's like, the body shop guy was so confused because he had no idea how you broke we broke this particular panel. And he's like, luckily it's not really expensive for this particular panel, and we got really lucky. But yeah. But apparently the body shop guy was like, how the fuck did you do this? And he just said, we backed it into a boat. Which made even less sense. The body shop guy was befuddled. He was so confused. No, it was a pretty cheap fix for him. So he's like, yeah, we got really lucky because it was a really cheap fix. Just one panel. Just one tiny panel at the back. We're good. It's like cheaper than fixing like a bumper or like something stupid like that. So it was like, it's probably like the same price as like changing a bearing on a wheel because that's how small it was. So we got really, really lucky. But yeah, Sakana was good-natured about it. He found it more funny than anything. Sakana was good-natured about it. I told him, like, bro, you told me not to look, but I'm never listening to you again. He was just, like, laughing the entire time. So, he was good-natured about it. The real MVP here was Uruka, okay? The real MVP here was Uruka. Uruka the entire time was like, it's not your fault. You're just tired. It's okay. You know, you've been driving around all day. This is Sakana's fault. Uruka was so sweet. Oh my god. Yeah. She spent the entire night like being like, it's okay, Shiina. I know you're beating yourself up right now. Like, you're just... Oh my god. Yeah, so bless Uruka. Uruka was such a calming presence this entire trip. Uruka was so sweet to me. Oh my god. Yes. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah, so now I'm gonna have to I have to wear that badge of, I guess, Shiina crashed Sakana's car into a boat. I guess that's gonna be my legacy. I guess this is it. I guess this is it for me, guys. This is my mark on this company.
My fellow brothers, in the face of our common dangers, in this winter of our hardship, remember these timeless words, as we can.